Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving into how to give constructive feedback, especially in the workplace. It's fascinating how a thoughtful approach can build trust and improve team dynamics.
Absolutely, it's all about creating an environment where everyone feels they can grow. Yep,
Right. So, at its core, constructive feedback is all about highlighting specific behaviors and offering actionable suggestions for improvement, not just pointing out
mm-hmm.
problems. It's supportive, forward-looking, and focuses on actual performance improvement.
I guess what you're saying is that it's about being helpful rather than critical, making sure your message is encouraging.
Exactly. It's like giving clear direction so that someone knows exactly what steps to take to improve. You use what they call SMART goals sometimes, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Yeah, absolutely. And that clarity makes all the difference. But sometimes I wonder, isn't it hard to be both direct and empathetic at the same time?
That's a great point. It is tricky. The golden rule here is to be direct while keeping your tone respectful. For instance, instead of saying, "You're terrible at communicating," you could say, "I noticed a pattern in our meetings, and maybe we can work together to make sure everyone gets a chance to speak."
Right. Speaking of meetings, there were several examples about communication issues. Can you walk us through one of those?
Sure. One common example is when someone tends to interrupt others in team meetings. The feedback might be, "You share great ideas, but I'd love if we allowed everyone their share of time." It's respectful and invites collaboration.
Yep. And it's not just about pinpointing the behavior, but also offering a practical solution, like forming a rule of sharing time equally.
Exactly. It's about making the feedback actionable. Speaking of actionable, there were examples surrounding time management as well, like addressing tardiness or missed deadlines.
Right. Like when a person is continuously late for meetings. The example given was something along the lines of, "I've noticed you're often late. Let's see if there's something that can help you manage your time better."
Yeah, and that one really emphasizes understanding, giving them room to explain if there's a deeper issue behind the behavior rather than just reprimanding them.
What I find interesting is the differentiation made between constructive feedback and constructive criticism. It seems like, even though many use them interchangeably, there is a subtle yet important difference, right?
Exactly. Constructive criticism often zeroes in on what went wrong, sometimes in a way that might sound judgmental. Constructive feedback, on the other hand, is more about a cooperative forward leap, about solutions rather than dwelling on past mistakes.
Now, do you think that sometimes people might, lean too heavily on the feedback sandwich approach?
That's a solid question. While starting with positive feedback can soften the message, overusing the sandwich can make the positive seem, like filler. The key is balance. You want to truly recognize what's working and at the same time offer clear improvements.
Yeah, I agree. It sounds like tailoring the feedback to the individual situation is really crucial. You can't just have a one-size-fits-all template, can you?
Absolutely not. For instance, the examples range from dealing with colleagues who might delegate too much to managing direct reports who seem disengaged. Each scenario requires its own, nuanced approach.
Right on. And what about when you need to give feedback to managers or leadership? That's always a bit more delicate, isn't it?
Yes, giving feedback upward is likely the most challenging. The script we reviewed highlights that it's important to be respectful and clear, maybe referencing how, say, emails sent during weekends can affect work-life balance. It's, about setting healthy boundaries without undermining the manager's
That's a
authority.
sensitive balance indeed. I noticed there's advice on leaving space for conversation as well, so that the person receiving feedback can, ask questions and really understand the context.
Right, that's critical. Feedback should be a dialogue rather than a monologue. After all, the whole idea is to foster a culture where everyone feels safe to give and receive insights.
Exactly. One of the interesting angles is how constructive feedback can, in turn, empower the giver. It builds your reputation as someone who communicates well, right?
Yeah, it's like a virtuous cycle. When you deliver feedback constructively, you're not just helping others improve, you're also showcasing your own capability to lead with empathy and clear
Right?
direction.
That's a win-win. It's almost like coaching, where you're helping others grow while also refining your own skills. Speaking of coaching, the content mentioned tools like BetterUp that help develop these skills.
Exactly. BetterUp and similar platforms offer on-demand sessions and research-driven guidance to help polish communication styles. They really emphasize living with clarity, purpose, and passion, which resonates with the fundamental goal of constructive feedback.
Yeah, that's spot on. So, moving back to practical examples, what are some ways somebody could structure feedback using the SMART approach in a real-life scenario?
Well, say a manager wants to help an employee improve their presentation skills. Instead of a vague, improve your communication, they might say, let's aim for you to speak up at least once during our team meetings for the next 4 weeks. It offers a specific target and a timeline.
Clear and direct. When you break it down like that, it provides a tangible goal, right? It transforms the feedback into, a mini action plan.
Exactly. It's about shifting the narrative from blame to a game plan for success. And this approach not only supports the receiver, but creates an environment where growth is seen as a shared journey rather than a litany of faults.
Right, that really builds trust. Now, I wanted to respectfully challenge one point. Do you think there's a risk that being too specific might box the recipient into a narrow way of thinking?
That's a great challenge. I do think that specificity is key, but it's also vital to remain flexible. The goal setting should empower creativity. For example, setting a clear goal doesn't mean you can't explore different methods to achieve it. It's a guiding framework rather than a strict rulebook.
I see your point. It's like giving a roadmap, but still allowing for detours when necessary. That balance seems essential.
Exactly. It's all about that balance. Guidance with room for personal adaptation. Now, another recurring theme is ensuring that, after you deliver the feedback, you follow up. Checking in makes the recipient feel supported throughout the process.
Yep, follow-ups are key. And this ongoing dialogue is what helps prevent any potential miscommunications or lingering misunderstandings from the initial conversation.
Absolutely. It turns what could be a one-off critique into an ongoing conversation about growth and development. Plus, it reinforces that both parties are invested in the success of the team.
Right on. I love how these approaches not only improve performance, but also contribute to a positive work culture. It can feel like you're collectively building each other up.
Yeah, it's kind of like constructing a sturdy bridge, one plank at a time, where each piece of feedback, when done right, strengthens the entire structure.
Before we wrap up, any final thoughts on why mastering constructive feedback is especially relevant now in the age of AI and remote work?
For sure. In an environment where remote work and digital communication are front and center, clear empathetic feedback helps bridge the distance. It builds stronger relationships despite the physical separation, and platforms like BetterUp help scale these skills with the power of AI insights.
Yeah, exactly. It really comes down to, clear communication and genuine care for one another, even when we're not in the same room.
Precisely. And remember, folks, using these strategies, being specific, timely, and open to follow-up, helps create a workplace where constructive feedback is, truly a tool for growth rather than a source of anxiety.
Yep, that's the takeaway. It's been a great conversation, and I hope everyone listening feels empowered to use this advice to foster more open and supportive work environments.
Thanks for joining in, everyone. Keep those conversations constructive and transformative.